Hey everyone, today I wanted to show you how to make a Chinese collar with a slit neckline. So you want to cut the neckline on fold 2.5 inches wide and 3 inches deep. Then you want to make a 4-inch deep slit. Now we're going to measure the neckline. So you start by folding 1/2 inch at the beginning when you're measuring. And then I'm just measuring all the way around. And when I reach the end, I'm also going to fold in 1/2 inch. Just like that. And so that measures 16 inches. Then I'm going to take a folded piece of interface and mark 8 inches across. And then on the folded side, I'm going to mark 2 inches and mark 2.5 inches on the open side. So now you want to mark 2.5 inches from the folded side, and we're going to combine these 2 points by drawing a line. And that's going to make a whole collar that's 2 inches wide. So now I'm just connecting all those points. And I'm just going to make the corners rounded, and that's just a personal preference. You can leave them as like the sharp corners that they were before, or you can just slightly round them. And now I'm just cutting the collar out. Okay, so here we have our 2 inches wide collar. Now we're going to attach the collar to a 17 inches long and a 5-inch wide cloth. So now we're going to attach the interface. So you want to first run a stitch on an unfolded cloth all around the interface, and then you want to fold this one edge over and run a stitch. Okay, so now let me show you how this is done on the machine. So I'm just going to run a stitch on the interface all around the interface. So this isn't along the interface, it's right directly, the stitch is on top of the interface. Okay, so now we're gonna fold one edge of the cloth and run a stitch. So now we're gonna fold the cloth in half. So I just folded it in half. And we're just gonna run a stitch along the interface. So not on the interface, you just wanna go around the edge of the interface. Okay, so now we're done. We're gonna cut off the extra fabric and just leave 1/2 inch all around the interface. So I'm just cutting off the extra fabric. Okay, so here's our collar so far. Now we want to first hem the 4-inch slit. So you want to cut small notches at the end of the slit before you start hemming. Now you want to attach the 2-inch wide and the 5-inch long flaps to both sides of the slit. Now you want to double fold the flap and run a stitch again. and you want to leave a thin piping to the right side of the slit. Okay, and I'm just cutting off the extra fabric again. So now we're going to attach the collar to the wrong side of the neckline. So here is the collar, and I'm just attaching it to the neckline now. Okay, so now I'm just going to run a stitch all around the edge of the collar. So now we're going to attach the backing to the slit. So you want to attach a 3/4 of an inch wide and a 2-inch long piece of interface to a 2-inch wide strip of cloth. And you want to wrap this cloth around the interface and sew. And now you're going to hold both sides of the slit and make sure the strip that you're going to attach is at the same distance on your neckline from your collar. So I attached this strip to just about 1.5 inch of the slit. So now I'm going to do what's called a stitch in the ditch, which is basically you don't want to run the stitch on the black strip that we're attaching or on the front of the shirt because it's going to show. So I'm running the stitch as close as possible to the piping that you see, so that the seam we're running stays hidden. So basically it's sort of a ditch that we're going to run the stitch in. And now we're done. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe.